Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. There will be a new Dodge Hornet for 2023 and I'm a little bit confused about this car because underneath it's going to be built on an Alfa Romeo Tonale, so we're going to have an Italian design proportions crossover. That first, just by saying that, an Alfa Romeo crossover is kind of weird, but then they're going to take that crossover turning into a Dodge Hornet, which is not going to be the same cool 70s, 60s and 70s car that we have, AMC Hornet. Instead, they're gonna drag the nameplate in the mud and drag it for a long time and then pull it out as a mass-produced crossover with the name Hornet on it. So what we're gonna do in this video is I'm gonna show you the spy photos of the Dodge Hornet, then I'm gonna try to redesign it based on the spy photos, based on the Alfa Romeo Tonale, because it is essentially a clone of the Tonale with a Durango face. So that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. Take a look at it from a front, side and rear, continue in Photoshop, sketch it up and turn it into hopefully something that is close to the production version. So listen, I get it. Manufacturers, like every other manufacturer, they need to sell cars, and what's selling right now are definitely crossovers. They're usually affordable, they sit a little higher off the ground, making it easy to get in and out of, and you can take your family camping or maybe go fishing. But before you go and grab that fishing rod, it's always good to get a little practice in. And that's why I want to take a minute to introduce today's sponsor, Fishing Clash. Fishing Clash is a mobile game featuring some of the most realistic graphics you've ever seen in a mobile game. Travel to exotic locations all around the world, such as the Galapagos, Loch Ness, Patagonia, and even offshore fishing at night in Hawaii right from your couch. Keep playing to upgrade your rods and lures for more advanced gameplay and of course to catch bigger fish. There are weekly competitions and events to help you improve your fishing skills. You can even create your own clan and have fishing duels with your friends and family, or compete with other players online. Download the game by scanning the QR code right here on the screen, or click the link down in the description and use my gift code, TheSketchMonkey, to get a special reward that's only available for new players. With my gift code, you'll get a 3-star rod, 1 mythical lure, dolphin fish, 50 luck power-ups, and 30 weight power-ups to help you catch bigger fish. All of this for a total value of $20. Just follow these simple steps to redeem your gift code. Again, this is only available for new players. Download Fishing Clash today and use my gift code, TheSketchMonkey. Thanks again to Fishing Clash for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the Dodge Hornet. So let's have a look at the spy photos here. Let's start with the front view. When you do something like this, when you take an Italian Alfa Romeo crossover and turn it into a Dodge, weird things are gonna happen. So have a look at the front end here of the spy photo. We have the beautiful, stylish Italian design. To me is large surfaces, soft surfaces in combination with a couple of key sharp lines. So we have that in the Tonale down here. Let's have a look at this and let me show you why I really like this design. So I made a video on this and comparing the concept to the production version, because I really like the concept of the Tonale, not just as a crossover but as a general car. It looks like a really good looking crossover, and that's a rare feat. Usually they're just overstyled, mass-produced crap cars, but in this case I think this is actually a really good looking crossover, because we have the beautiful surfaces as you can see of an Italian design, but also a couple of key sharp elements and lines. For example, the graphics in the front end right here. Of course we have the shield in the front end, the Alfa Romeo shield, and a couple of key lines, sharp lines that kind of cuts up the smoothness and the roundness of this Italian way of designing cars. So this now is going to, how do we turn this into a Dodge with minimal effort? What we're going to do is we're going to take the front end and move the face and then slap a modified kind of Durango face onto the Alfa Romeo Tonale. And what that creates is problems, because we have an Italian type of styling in combination with American styling. They are two very different approaches to car design. So the front end graphics of a Durango is not going to suit the proportions of the otherwise beautifully stylized version of the Alfa Romeo Tonale. So looking at the front end here, we can see it looks like the front of the new Hornet is going to be very small. It looks like it's shrunken down and looks like it's part of a different car, which essentially it is, because this, as I said, is the Tonale and this is a totally different car. This is a Dodge. So how do we make this work? That's what we're going to try and figure out in the redesign. But I think the front end is generally gonna look like it's too small for the car. That's gonna be the main issue. And then we have the Durango front face, or the Dodge in general, very horizontal muscle car feel to the design, and that's not going to work on these type of curvatures that the Tonale has. So we're going to have to restyle and add some angles maybe to the headlights. The headlights look like it looks like they made some effort to turn the headlights into something unique for the Hornet, even though this looks like they came straight off a Honda Civic. But still, they don't have the same kind of design elements like we have in the clearly distinctable, unique, I guess it's the right word, Alfa Romeo Tonale, with these 3 U-shape LEDs, so you can clearly tell that that is an Alfa Romeo. This is going to have a different design, but nothing that says this is clearly a Dodge. So it's going to be an interesting car to see when they unveil this and how they're going to solve this issue, if they're even going to bother to solve it, because these are going to sell anyway since it's a crossover and people apparently love crossover. It doesn't really matter what type it is. But anyway, we have the same kind of design in the bodywork. So the bodywork, as you can see, look at the greenhouse here, for example, exactly the same lines in the greenhouse that we have in the Tonale, so this is not going to change. Nothing about the greenhouse and the front end and the rear specifically. I'm going to show you that in a second. It feels like they actually just copied the Tonale with a different front face, which is strange. It's almost a little lazy approach to creating a car. We also see that we have the same line in the body here as we have on the Tonale. We also have the same line in the lower part right here as we have in the Tonale as well. So let's have a look at the side view and then the rear, where it gets really interesting. But here is the side view. We see the wheels here look very unfitting for this car, but I understand it's a prototype, so that's probably gonna change. Hopefully they put some more aggressive tires and wheels on the Hornet, like we have on the beautiful Tonale down here. But this line here, and we have the same treatment of the rear end, exactly the same serial number on these parts. It has to be, because it's a exact copy of everything that goes on in this car that is going to be transferred over to the Hornet. So it's not going to be a car that is going to have its own dedicated Instagram fan page, the new Hornet, because it's going to be a mass-produced, Americanized Alfa Romeo Tonale in essence. And everything about this car is already unveiled, basically, so we don't really have to do anything else other than changing the front end of this car. But having a look in the rear view, this is where it gets really interesting, or maybe I should say lazy, if this is what Dodge is planning to do, because look at this. Look at the taillights and the graphics in the taillight. It looks exactly the same as it does on the Tonale. At least in the front end, as I showed you, they tried to create some LEDs like Honda Civic style LED, differentiated from the Tonale, but in the rear, I really don't see any differences between these two cars. The exact same lower part trim piece right here, as you can see, we have the reflector, these pieces in the exact same location, and even this little indent in the plastic here is exactly the same as what we have on the Tonale down here. And the taillights, of course, I'm not sure if they're gonna do a light bar, probably, because I guess if they're gonna cut costs this much, I'm sure they're not gonna attempt to redesign the taillights to not have a light bar. That would probably add too much money to this project, and that's not what Dodge want. So let's jump in here and continue in Photoshop, and let's try and put some sort of Dodge Durango style front fascia on the Dodge Hornet, and let's just see how it's gonna turn out. I'm interested too, seeing what we can come up with here and how we can probably possibly solve this issue that we have in front of us here. The 2023 Dodge Hornet is the first plug-in hybrid for Dodge, and is planned to be unveiled in August, and will essentially be a rebranded version of the plug-in version of the Alfa Romeo Tonale, which has the Tonale, the plug-in version, has a turbocharged 1.3 liter inline-four in addition to an electric motor in the rear, for a total power output of 272 horsepower. The Hornet will most likely have the exact same powertrain when it goes on sale in 2023. And I wouldn't be surprised if they actually share the exact same powertrain, because it seems like they're sharing pretty much everything else too. So when I made the redesign, I was really struggling with the type of American graphics on top of Italian proportions and overall styling. You need to kind of fit make them melt together as well as possible while still keeping the Dodge identity, I guess, somewhat intact, even though it's completely lost as soon as you go away from looking at the front end and maybe a Dodge logo, which is actually going to tell you that this is actually a Dodge. I hope it's not going to be as bad as for example, we have two Saab models in the mid-2000s. We have the 92X, which when you look at it, you wonder what happened here. This is not at all a Saab, and then you realize that you're looking at a Subaru Impreza with a rebadged name, so they just slapped a Saab brand badge on there. Same goes for the 97X. When you look at that, you realize that something is completely off. It's not Saab at all in the design language. That's because that was designed and based on the Chevy Trailblazer of the time. So I hope this is going to be a little more effort than those Saab models, because as you know, what happened to Saab eventually, they went bankrupt and the company totally crashed. And I assume the 92X and the 97X maybe they were part of that, but I'm not sure. They kind of had to create more models, and they just took whatever parts they had and assembled a Saab from that. And I wouldn't be surprised if those weren't selling well, because they weren't actually Saabs, not on the exterior or the interior. I'm pretty sure that this is going to have the exact same interior as Alfa Romeo Tonale as well. I'm 99% sure of that. But what I want to do is try to fit some sort of modified Durango pieces, front fascia onto these proportions. No matter what I try to do here, the front fascia always looks too small in comparison to the rest of the body. I had issues with that, and I tried to figure out what I can do, maybe angle up the headlights a little bit to make them fit the styling better. But I think what really makes the Alfa Romeo Tonale work with the same style, if you look at the graphics of this redesign that I'm doing, it's almost in the exact same position as the Alfa Romeo, but the Alfa Romeo works 100 times better than this. And the reason for that, I think, is that we have the big Alfa Romeo shield cutting out the center of the front end of this car, creating some sort of balance between the big volumes in the overall size of the car and the big volumes in the front end by adding that grille. So if we remove that grille, it's going to look like the front fascia looks too small for the overall car. And I think the end result of this actually looks like it has a bit of a too small of a front face. So it's going to be really interesting, because I base this redesign on the spy photos as well, as closely as you can make out the spy photos to look like. I mean, there's heavy camouflaged, but you can still see where the graphic, like the headlights, where they start and end in the front end. You can also see where the intakes are supposed to be and stuff like that. So that's what I was trying to do, and this is what I come up with. So we're gonna see what the official version will look like in August. I think it's gonna be a little delayed. They were talking about delays for this car because of all the shortages going on, so I don't know how far they're gonna push it back. But they're also working on an electric muscle car, and that's a car that I'm really excited about to see how they're gonna present that, because Dodge is such a iconic muscle car brand that creating an electric muscle car, it's gonna create, I think it's gonna be a car that people either love or hate. I mean, it's gonna be a very polarizing car. I can't wait to cover that here on the channel when that comes out. Let me know what you think about this philosophy or strategy of taking a nameplate from the 70s of a very cool car that definitely could have a dedicated Instagram page to it. Take that nameplate, drag it through the mud, and turn it into a mass-produced crossover just to generate some revenue. Hopefully what they're gonna do with the revenue is create something cool. I understand that companies need to have crossovers today to survive, but I want them to take that revenue and the profit from that and turn it into what they really want to do and what really has some connection to the brand's history. In Dodge example here, muscle cars and sort of American brute force cars. I want to see more cars like that from Dodge, and they've been doing a great job. They're still producing the Challenger, for example, which is one of my favorite cars at the moment on sale, and it's been around since 2008 with a minor facelift in 2015. Still looks like one of the best looking cars out on the streets today. So yes, I forgive Dodge for making a car like this. if they decided to continue to make other cars that are way cooler than this and that has some muscle car to it and is a proper Dodge. Let me know what you think about this strategy from Dodge. Do you like it? Do you think they should have named it something else? Personally, I think they could have come up with any other name than Hornet, just because they kind of feel like they want people to get excited about a crossover by just slapping the Hornet name on there, but it has nothing to do with the original. I don't know, do you know what I mean? It kind of feels fake. It feels like a fake car to me, but that's just my opinion. Thanks again to Fishing Clash for sponsoring this video. Make sure you download the game by clicking the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.